Okay. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Now it's time to cold bust Joe Biden in broad daylight and put his ass on Main Street, okay? So he can never save face, never live it down, never be forgiven, never get past this, and so he can be on Main Street forever. And he can take my place. I don't give a fuck. You can be the situation, whatever. You can be the 411. I don't give a fuck. And all I got to say is this. Joe Biden is as read in the book of Enoch, and I'm going to read this right here, and I'm going to give you a very clear reason and what his name means, okay? The mocker, his name is Nequel. And behold the names of the angels, and these are their names. The first of them is Samjaza, the second are the Kepha, the third Armin, the fourth Kokabel, the fifth Teriel, the sixth Romjal, the seventh Danjal, the eighth Nequel. Okay, what does his name mean? It means not a quail, okay? He's a false liberal. Nequel Biden, his name slur means not quail. It also means as a false liberal, Joe Biden negates quail. It also, once again, demon names are crux crucifixes. They have a star point number of meanings. I'm going to give you a good example. Just like this star has a center, but it juts out all these different statements. Demon names are those same things. They rival the starry disk of Anu, the Anunnaki. Okay, they rival it because they're like a false form of it. Okay, they're like a false star. They pretend to be a star, but they're black holes. Okay, now this is the thing. False liberal Joe Biden negates quail. His name basically means that, and I'm explaining even a little better. Because here's the boom. He treats the inconvenient truth like an inconvenience. So it's like he plays the role of the Moe and Curly Stooge. Like Moe is Dan Quayle, so Curly be like, okay, well then that's what I'll do. So everyone laughs because it's so hilarious. Isn't that cute? You know, this goofball. That's not what he meant, you moron. So this is the role that Joe Biden has played as a liberal. He always has played the negator of the white liberal male, the not Quayle. The negator of the quail, okay? And it literally means that Dan Quayle was as well around a long time ago, okay? In their incarnations, they both have lived, and Joe Biden has always lived to come behind Dan Quayle and make his existence not just a zero, but an abysmal bargain, something worse than lose-lose for us liberals and for everyone. That's all he functions to do, okay? He basically is like Dan Quayle's shadow, okay? Dan Quayle is a true liberal, and when he made the inconvenient truth, it was something he was like, we're going to deal with this. Joe Biden's attitude, I'm going to treat it like the inconvenient truth it is. I'm going to take you at your word because I'm just that kind of mocker, okay? A mocker. So I mean mock. Like I'm the chuck. I'll put it this way. As a meat cutter, we had what was called a mock tender. It was a piece of the chuck. It came from what was called a two-way chuck. It was attached to the large chuck underblade where you get underblade roast from. And it also was attached to the shoulder where you got shoulder roast, shoulder steaks, top blade steaks. As a meat cutter, we cut it. And it was a long, increasingly widening piece of extremely high quality chuck meat that literally could rival a tenderloin or a filet in every respect, except that it had to be cooked a lot longer. Chuck meat, as opposed to tenderloin, the beef tenderloin, which came from the really high quality part of the animal, okay, cost way more. It's absolutely valued. Chuck meat is something almost like meat market meat, and it's like exclusive, but it's like half the price at the highest. Even now, with all the gouging going on, it just isn't a tenderloin. And it is not, and it does not, it cannot rival it. Ultimately, if you're a connoisseur, you know. But if you want to gyp somebody, you can give them a chuck tender. Guess what? They won't know it. If you cook it long enough and tender and season it, it's melting in your mouth. It's oh joy, and the beef flavor is off the chain. But it's not a tenderloin. This is what we're talking about in terms of what you're getting sold and what you're getting. When you start dealing with people, it's the same kind of Decepticons. Deceptive con artists, okay? Joe Biden is a con artist. He's a false liberal, okay? He's a redneck, far-right winger, and he's a fraud, okay? And I saw about multiplications. I'm going to say it one more time as I read it. His name, Nequel, as I told you, means slur. The eighth, Nequel. These are reincarnate demoniacs, and as I said, they're in their last incarnation. Why? Because the pyre's on there. It can't be turned off. Something they didn't know about, some do know. In 69, the pirate came on. It means what? That you can't slip back through incarnation again and reincarnate as a demoniac. This time, when you leave this body, you're going to go scripturally as it says, it's appointed unto man once to die. After this, the judgment. And as a demon, because you come as Nekoel is as a form of a person and human, you're going to die. Okay, as a demon, when you choose to take on a human form, you basically are sacrificing immortality. Nekoel was as well an immortal being. Okay, once again, Nekoel negating not negative the opposite of a Dan Quayle. He's an absolute not liberal. And if you look at Dan Quayle and Joe Biden and observe their lives and what they did, they have nothing to do with each other. Okay. Joe Biden hides behind the Dan Quayle. It's as if he kind of like covers himself in the form of godliness of being the Dan Quayle, the real liberal, but he denies the power of it. And you see it clearly with the gouging he tolerates and takes part in. Things I've watched him do as a child and on film that showed because his secret life working as a Klansman and his malicious. Here's another story. Did you know that nearly every one of the so-called civil rights riots in black neighborhoods was actually perverted, redone video of murders and genocides in black neighborhoods? I'm going to say it again. I swear by multiplications, and I've seen it all over. Every one of the so-called riots in black neighborhoods was a so-called, not so-called, but was actually genocide, okay? I swear to God, and I've watched it, okay? They tried that shit up in Cedarbrook because guess what? We're uppity, we're good people, we might be stuck up, we a little all that, can see the colors, but we are very strong community. Cedarbrook Mountain area, from living all my life, we are stone straight up good people. And I'm going to testify, even with the colorism, I've been living there. I lived there off and on for 56 years. You can't touch Northwest Philly. The problem was Clinton came up without plastic surgery, and I saw him beforehand because at the time I was a little kid and I was in a day camp, because I still remember Charlene Allen Miller, one of my classmates from King, was hanging with me that day, and they came up and tried to claim that we were rioting. And the blacks were coming out of the house like, no, we don't do that here. We don't destroy our own houses. So we literally fought Clinton, Biden, and the Klan tooth and nail while they were killing our people. And we fought them tooth and nail until after midnight because they tried to destroy our whole damn neighborhood and tried to say we were rioting. I think it was when MLK got killed. And we was like, no, we're not doing that. We ain't stupid. And for what? It was like we were in one of the neighborhoods. We fought them tooth and nail, and I saw them, and we all called them out on it. Because Clinton had not gotten plastic surgery yet. He had to face the most ordinary, hateful-ass redneck you ever saw. You would not believe how evil-ass Clinton is. He has faced plastic surgery to cover his face up, to make him look pleasant. He's about one of the most ornery, hateful-ass people you ever saw. He's a bloody-ass, two-faced bullshit murderer, okay? And Biden was right there with them. They're both absolute murderous frauds, okay? Biden was, and he is notorious for going into black neighborhoods as a Democratic candidate and raping black girls and then using his credentials as a patriarch against them so no one listens. He's notorious for it, and he's known to be a pervert. He's done it too many times in Westmont area. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Nekoel, not quail, the opposite of a quail. And the statement is this: he treats the inconvenient truth that Dan Quayle had the balls to confront and make an award-winning film that was really big on climate change and everything else and all the other. He confronted. What does Biden do? As we've seen, he runs away. Okay, he's too busy, as the Bible said, returning to the far right vomit again, and he can't hide it. It's who he is. That's right, the dog. It is written as it is written in the Bible, and known proverb, it has happened unto them according to the true proverb. Clinton, and I think his real name was actually Clayton, like a stone, redneck, criminal, evil demon seed motherfucker. He was an ornery motherfucker. And then we was calling him out because he was trying to hide when the night was over, because they caused a lot of damage up in Mount Airy City, but really right up around Finley Playground. And we blacks and people living in the neighborhood, Jews, fought them and resisted them tooth and nail and made them leave without going past Finley. But they did a lot of damage up and down Mansfield. It was horrible. Yeah, they're absolute two-faced, backstabbing far-right wingers in leftist clothing. They're wolves in sheep's clothing of the worst order, okay? I'm just calling it like I see it. Like the Bible says that this wicked Haman. I ain't got my Esther with me, so I'm going to call it, okay? It is what it is. Deal with it, America. Okay? Ned Quayle, the eighth Ned Quayle, okay? The false liberal Joe Biden, Ned Gates Quayle. His name is a mock. Okay? He literally functions to fuck up and ruin everything true white liberals do and to give them a bad name. Like the song, You Give Love a Bad Name, okay? He's the absolute opposite of a bleeding heart liberal, and his life tells you that, okay? There ain't no way in hell any man that claims to be a liberal, white, that's real for us, has any business being known as a fucking pervert and a touchy-feely in broad daylight. He's a fucking pervert. Because he thinks he's the questing king. He's got the right to just touch, because the arrogant redneck comes out. He can't hide himself. He tells on himself. So once again, this is the Vormir Golgotha. It is the everlasting exchange. It demands the sacrifice. It exacts the terrible price. The soul for the soul. I speak as Saruman, the Dark Lord. The Dark Lord rides in force tonight, and time will tell us all. This is the Omerta Morte, papal absolute unction and doom, and I'm speaking it out specifically against the two absolute frauds, Bill Clinton and Joe Biden. It is the Omerta Morte. It is the everlasting exchange. It demands the sacrifice. It exacts the terrible price. The soul for the soul.